These are the Golden Ear Triton 3 Pluses. Priced at $2,500 for the pair, they are certainly within reason when it comes to the price of admission and offer looks that typically scores high points with the wife approval factor. Weighing 45 pounds and standing 44 inches high, 7 inches deep, and a mere 5¼ inches wide, these sit elegantly in just about any decor out there. Granted, some audiophiles might wish Golden Ear would just ditch the socks wrapped around the speakers altogether, allowing us to geek out at the custom-designed drivers hiding inside. Okay, fair enough, but let's hold our horses until we give these a fair listen. Speaking of drivers, the 3 Plus has 5x9 long-throw quadratic subwoofer bass drivers, coupled to two 6¾ by 8-inch passive radiators. Providing power to handle this section, you will have 800 watts on tap provided by the built-in force field amplifier. Looking at the back, you won't find a mess of confusing crossover points, phase dials, or anything else to putz with. No, the only thing the Tritons have is a volume control. Now, if you're anything like me, you're probably already scratching your head and saying, Wait, Ron, what about blending in the upper drivers? I know, and I hear you loud and clear. Lucky for us, Joe Blow from Audio City didn't design these speakers. Sandy Gross and his crack engineering team did. If you have no idea who Sandy is, shame on you. He is one of the most important designers in hi-fi and has been doing this since most of us were crawling around in diapers. To get to the point, Golden Ear has already locked in the crossover point and phase for each speaker. All the hard work is already done, so yeah, volume is all you need. For mid-band duties, the 3 Plus has a 4.5-inch high-definition cast basket MVPP upper bass mid-range driver, and for the tweeter, Golden Ear has opted for a high-velocity folded ribbon tweeter, also known as an air motion tweeter. Certainly worth mentioning, and one of the selling points of this design is, because the sub is self-powered, the rest of the speaker is easy-peasy to drive, being rated at 90 decibels. What this means is any home theater enthusiast will be happy with their Denon or Onkyo running the show just as much as a bona fide card-carrying audiophile powering these speakers with lower wattage tube amps if they want. Yeah, on paper the Golden Ear Triton 3 Pluses look darn good, and the price is certainly right. How they sound is the only thing that's up for debate, and with a warm welcome back to New Record Day, that's exactly what we are going to find out. The top end of the Triton 3 Pluses is delicately balanced and surpassed all expectations, knowing good and well there is an air motion tweeter lurking beneath this black sock. Do I have a thing against air motion tweeters? No, not at all. But I noticed in the recently reviewed Legacy Studio HDs, an AMT can be hard to get perfect, and before you know it, all you hear in the music is a ton of air. While some listeners might dig this, I prefer something more neutral when I'm listening over the long haul. With the Triton 3 Pluses, cymbals have body, and when they are struck, you hear the attack and decay without them chatting about it for the next 3 days. Trying out some high-resolution albums from our friends at HD Tracks, I made my way through the new Red Hot Chili Peppers album, Getaway, without an ounce of fatigue, and believe me, I was cranking the music. Bottom line, the top end of the 3 Pluses is easily one of my favorites I have heard in recent memory. Checking out Madeleine Peyroux's Half the Perfect World, the Tritons projected beautiful-sounding upper registries of female vocals and sounded fantastically detailed. Electric guitars throughout the track had snap and sounded amplified with presence and tone for days on end. Drums and percussion were rendered with believable dynamics and sounded clear and focused. When I first tried out the Triton 3 Pluses, I decided to listen to them without the built-in subs, and that was a huge mistake. The subs are playing quite high, and much higher than I would ever suggest someone playing a dedicated subwoofer. The midband depends on this crossover point, and you must have these turned on to get the full experience. The bass integration and tone being offered is critical to get these speakers to flex their muscles. I think Golden Ear has done a phenomenal job of blending the bass and mid-range together, and with a little volume tweaking, it's nearly impossible to detect where one begins and the other ends. When it comes to anything below 80 Hz and entering true subwoofer nether regions, Sandy stepped up to the plate, called a shot, and hit the ball out of the park. These monsters will drop serious bombs while sounding incredibly musical all at the same time. Perhaps by happy accident while surfing through Rune, I came to the realization that the Triton 3 Pluses just might be the ultimate soundtrack speaker. Listening to the Gladiator soundtrack, I heard bass that was clean, hit hard, and hit really fast. How fast? Well, not as fast as an open baffle sub, but much faster than any ported subwoofer that I've had in-house. Also, because Golden Ear is using passive radiators, you don't ever hear port noise when bombs drop. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, for what the Triton 3s bring to the table, the bass is simply superb. As most of you know, I rarely toe in speakers unless I found a good reason to do it. With this design, I chose not to toe them in simply because they were imaging so darn well. With that being the case, towing in the Tritons had a substantial impact on the midband, and the more aggressive the toe-in, the more linear the mid-range sounded. Even more, the width, clarity, and even depth of the stage went from superb to off-the-charts phenomenal. Yeah, speaker positioning is super important, and this was a reminder for me that even though these speakers sounded awesome in a number of locations, I was able to get even more mileage with a little experimentation. I'm a sucker for a speaker that packs up their bags and removes themselves from a room. When it comes to my old standby, the tried and true Anthony Gallo 3.1s, they know how to do this unlike any other speaker that I have ever heard. By far, imaging and transparency is their most salient attribute. When it comes to the Triton 3 Pluses, they play the same hide-and-seek game, and as Sandy put it to me on a phone call, they image like a bandit. Trying Mr. Moses' main title from the John Barry collection performed by City of Prague Philharmonic Orchestra, I quickly found myself giggling and even drooling on myself at just how well these bandits do in fact disappear. Yeah. The Golden Ear Triton 3 Pluses really do tickle me in all the right places, and I gotta say, Team Golden Ear has a real winner on their hands. Without reservation or hesitations, I would easily recommend these speakers to anyone who wants to hear what hi-fi is all about at a truly fair and affordable price. Well done, Sandy. Well done.